For nearly 8 decades, the fate of the USS Albacore, one of World War II's deadliest submarines, was sealed in silence off the coast of Hokkaido. A Gato-class predator that stalked Japan's warships, credited with sinking the prized carrier Taiho, Tai-Ho, and earning 11 victorious patrols, Albacore simply vanished in 1944, leaving behind official declarations but no answers for grieving families and the Navy itself. When sonar finally revealed her rusted hull on the cold seabed after 79 years, a wave of questions surged back to the surface. What doomed this legendary vessel, and how was her grave missed for so long? To uncover the true story of loss, legacy, and rediscovery, we have to start at the very beginning. On April 21, 1941, at the Electric Boat Company in Groton, Connecticut, workers laid the keel for a new Gato-class submarine, hull number SS-218. Just 10 months later, on February 17, 1942, the vessel slid down the ways, christened USS Albacore. By June 1, 1942, she was commissioned into service, entrusted to Lieutenant Commander Richard C. Lake. From bow to stern, the Albacore stretched 311 feet, her beam measuring just over 27 feet, and her draft a shade more than 17. Below the waterline, 4 diesel engines drove electric generators, feeding power to twin propeller shafts. On the surface, she could reach 21 knots, fast enough to outpace most merchant ships. Submerged, she crept silently at 9 knots, battery-powered and nearly invisible. 10 torpedo tubes, 6 forward, 4 aft, lined her hull, each capable of launching a 21-inch torpedo. A 3-inch deck gun and anti-aircraft weapons stood ready for surface action. Inside, 85 men lived and worked in a world of steel and machinery. Bunks stacked 3 high, narrow passageways alive with the hum of motors, and the air tinged with diesel and sweat. Patrols could last up to 75 days, the crew cycling through watches, drills, and the small comforts of letters from home. With a range of 11,000 nautical miles at 10 knots, Albacore could slip through the Pacific's vastness, hunting far from home for weeks on end. From the moment she sailed, her design promised reach, resilience, and deadly intent. Albacore's legend was built on 11 war patrols, each one a test of nerve and skill in enemy waters. Her record stands among the most formidable: 9 battle stars, 4 presidential unit citations, and at least 10 confirmed enemy ships sent to the bottom. Every patrol was a gauntlet: depth charges, patrol planes, and the constant threat of mechanical failure haunted the crew from the first dive to the last. Yet, it was their precision and daring that turned Albacore into a name whispered with respect and fear across the Pacific. The crew's greatest triumph came on June 19, 1944, during the Battle of the Philippine Sea. In a single calculated attack, Albacore fired a spread of torpedoes at the Japanese carrier Taiho, flagship of Admiral Ozawa's mobile fleet. A single torpedo struck home, igniting aviation fuel and dooming the pride of the Imperial Navy. Taiho's loss was a staggering blow. Her sinking marked the first time a Japanese fleet carrier had been destroyed by an American submarine. For this victory, Albacore's men earned the Navy Cross and the gratitude of a nation locked in a war of attrition. From the cramped torpedo rooms to the conning tower, every man aboard knew the risks. Their victories were measured in silence and steel, each patrol pushing deeper into danger as the war's tide turned. With every success, the stakes grew higher. Albacore had become both hunter and hunted, her reputation sealed in the cold depths of the Pacific. On October 24, 1944, Albacore slipped from Midway's harbor, her hull loaded for a final patrol in the cold northern waters off Hokkaido. Orders called for a sweep of the Tsugaru Strait, a narrow passage between Honshu and Hokkaido, where enemy convoys threaded through fog and shadow. The crew studied charts marked with danger zones, each one a warning inked in red. Japanese minefields, freshly laid and poorly mapped, stretched across the approaches. Intelligence briefings warned of contact mines moored at periscope depth, their steel shells packed with enough explosives to tear open a pressure hull in an instant. Albacore's assigned sector pressed her close to the Oshima Peninsula, an area the Navy flagged as high risk. Patrol orders left little room for detour. The strait was a choke point, and Japanese shipping still slipped through, shielded by patrol craft and the silent threat of mines. The boat's captain, Lieutenant Commander Hugh R. Rimmer, reviewed the latest signals intercepts. Enemy mine layers had been active in the region since September, and new barriers could appear overnight. Below decks, sailors ran through emergency drills, checked escape gear, and rehearsed procedures for flooding and fire. The air grew tense as the temperature dropped, condensation beating on bulkheads. Every man aware that a single mistake could mean disaster. Albacore's patrol track would carry her across mapped danger, but the boundaries were always shifting. In these waters, the line between hunter and hunted blurred, and the margin for error vanished with the tide. At 1000 hours on November 7, 1944, Japanese patrol craft stationed off the Oshima Peninsula recorded a single violent underwater detonation. Within minutes, a thick oil slick spread across the waves, followed by fragments of cork and lacquered wood drifting to the surface. No torpedo wake, no sign of a surface battle, just the sudden, unyielding silence that follows catastrophe beneath the sea. Wartime diaries from the patrol boats speak in clipped phrases: a blast, then debris, then nothing. Their crews circled the site, scanning for survivors or enemy periscopes, but the water offered no answers. In Washington, the Navy pored over intercepted reports and operational charts. Albacore's last transmission had placed her near these mined waters, but no further word arrived. Intelligence officers compared the timing and location of the explosion with the submarine's orders and the known minefields off Hokkaido. The evidence converged. Albacore had vanished in a moment, claimed by a mine laid to defend the Tsugaru Strait. There was no distress call, no final message, just a hole torn in the hull and 85 lives lost in a heartbeat. On December 21, 1944, the Navy declared Albacore and her crew presumed lost. Telegrams arrived at homes across the country, each one bearing the same blunt message of sacrifice and uncertainty. For families, the war's silence stretched on. No grave, no wreck, only the memory of a submarine that sailed into darkness and never returned. On May 25, 2022, a research vessel from the University of Tokyo swept the seafloor east of Hokkaido, guided by wartime records and decades of speculation. Dr. Tamaki Ura and his team mapped a precise grid across the suspected minefield, deploying multi-beam sonar to scan every contour of the seabed. Each pass produced a tapestry of echoes, ridges, silt beds, and at last, a long cylindrical shape lying 237 meters down. The anomaly measured close to 50 meters, its silhouette unmistakably submarine. Side-scan sonar sharpened the outline, revealing a conning tower and the faint suggestion of torpedo tubes. Strong currents and marine growth complicated the survey, forcing repeated runs to confirm the target's dimensions and orientation. In the control room, the data resolved into a probable match: a Hokkaido-class submarine, resting in silence. For the first time in 78 years, the searchers had found a contact worth pursuing. Details in the deep confirmed what sonar alone could not. High-definition images from the ROV revealed a slender mast, distinctive to the late-war SJ radar fit, jutting from the fairwater, a feature unique to Albacore's final configuration. Along the superstructure, a row of vent holes matched precisely with archival plans from 1944. Missing steel plates, absent from the fairwater, aligned with the last known modifications made before her final patrol. Each element, from the periscope arrangement to the hull's proportions, mirrored the submarine's blueprints held in Navy archives. Analysts at the Naval History and Heritage Command compared these findings, frame by frame, against wartime photographs and construction records. On February 16, 2023, the NHHC released its official statement. The wreck off Hokkaido was beyond doubt USS Albacore. After 79 years, a name lost to the Pacific was brought home by evidence no current could erase. On February 16, 2023, The U.S. Navy officially confirmed the wreck discovered off Hokkaido as USS Albacore, ending a 79-year search that began after her disappearance on November 7, 1944. The submarine had completed 11 war patrols and played a decisive role in the Pacific, including the sinking of the Japanese carrier Tai-Ho. Analysis of ROV imagery, unique hull features, and archival documents provided conclusive identification. Yet the precise details of her final moments, whether a mine or another cause led to the explosion, remain unresolved as some wartime records are incomplete. The discovery answers long-standing questions for families and historians, demonstrating how new technology can bring closure to decades-old mysteries. USS Albacore's service and sacrifice are now preserved not only in records, but on the ocean floor, a testament to her crew and to ongoing efforts to account for those lost at sea.